We'll start a little bit. So I want to make sure that I get right in there, and I am going to be doing my hitchhiker journal for the week. And hopefully the audio is not horrible in here. I may need to turn my music off. It's down so it's not echoey. So what I'm doing to begin with, let's just start. Hello, welcome. We're here for my weekly creation of my hitchhiker journal for the week. So I'm going to go grab that so you can see last week's, see what it is that we're doing. But what's on my desk right now that I want to go over, like this is top of mind. So I'm going to take the opportunity to talk a little bit about how the year is ending and to finish something before I do my hitchhiker journal. So this is kind of a prequel to my hitchhiker journal. So if you're just tuning in and you're expecting me to jump right into the hitchhiker, hang on just for a second. Hi, Jana. Hopefully you had a lovely time with family yesterday. Friends or both. I got to spend time with family that are friends, which is just such a delight. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm going to make a little slipcover for the mixed media prompt book that I just finished that is being added to the Watch.Learn.Play membership as I speak. As a matter of fact, it's uploading right now. And this is how the book ended up. So it's a little mixed media book with mixed media backgrounds. And on each of the pages, I have just cut and pasted the prompt. So it's like an illustrated book of mixed media backgrounds. So you can see this prompt says apply texture paste with a palette knife through a stencil. And so you have an example of what texture paste through a stencil with a palette knife looks like and feels like right here in your little books. So not only is it just visually fun to see the backgrounds, it's a little instruction book as well for how I do the backgrounds. So what I want to do for the first part of tonight is to, yay, hope everyone's Thanksgiving was great. I'm going to, because all of my signatures are complete now. This was four different signatures. I did 16 prompts on each one of these 4 sheets of paper. So it started out 11 by 14, which is what I'm working on for my hitchhiker journal, and this and my everything journal. So 11 by 14 paper is the size that I use for lots of different things, but even this little mixed media book. I'm going to grab some glue stick because that's what I'm missing right here. I really do need glue stick at every spot that I possibly need. Bonjour, Lucy. So I don't know about you, but figuring out how to cover this and make the back side of it look nice is a struggle sometimes. And I don't want to do anything super fancy or take a lot of time. So I'm just going to use, I cut some end sheets. They're not even perfectly cut. It doesn't even really matter. But I cut some end sheets here. So I'm going to glue them on. And what that means is that I don't lose this first page when I slip this into the slip cover that I'm going to make, which is the first thing that I'm going to do. So you get a bonus. Hello, everyone. Denise, hello. And by putting these end sheets on, I make it so that I don't lose that first page or the last page of art, right? So these end sheets just give me something to slip into the slip cover, which is what I'm going to show you how to do, because I need it. I'm doing double duty. This is a little bit sneaky of me. I'm also recording this on, let me make sure that I gave permission to be recorded. Yes, okay. I'm also recording this. Hopefully you guys can all hear me. Chat and tell me that you can hear me. So what I want to do is make a slip cover for this journal to slip into. So I'm going to do that with paper, and I can do that with paper that is the same size, even if it's a little bit wonky. This feels like it's a little bit wonky here. Even if it's the same, so it's the same size, you can see I'm using the same 11 by 14 paper. So long as I can fold these in to make pockets. So you can see how I've laid the journal out here with the end sheets laid out. So I'm not measuring, not a fan. I'm not a big fan of like inches and numbers in that respect. I love numbers. I just don't like to have to measure. So I'm just going to show you how to do this no matter what size you have. So nobody has to ask me how many inches wide this is. It's just, this book was made with the same size paper as I'm using for the slipcover. And so you can see that I have a little bit that's like half of my finger width. That's what I'm measuring. How wide is my finger? It's about half my index finger width away from the edge. That's a little nice cushy margin as far as I'm concerned. And that's about the same here. Oh, that one's a little tighter, but that's okay. Okay, so there's my two sides folded in. So on one side of this, in the middle, you're going to see this part. So I'm going to decorate that part with some watercolor, just black stripe. It's brown. Here's black. Just black stripe across. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it's not going to be plain white. So I want that to dry. Let me bring a dryer over. I have a new setup here, so I have like this mobile station where I can film no matter where I am in the studio, as long as I can plug in. And so this is it's working nicely. This is our maiden voyage. We may have to work on the audio if I determine that I don't like the way that this sounds, but I'm hoping. Still nobody has replied that they can hear me. Would somebody just in the chat say, I can hear you? That's always my fear, that you can't hear me. All right, now I want some polka dots out here. So I'm going to take a different brush. Still. Okay, good. You can hear me. It sounds like I'm a bit underwater. I know that is the fact that the sound is coming through my laptop and not my regular nice microphone that's across the room. So that will be the next thing that I do. Thank you for letting me know that the sound is affected by coming through my laptop. Thank you. That's what I needed to know. So then these parts are going to show as well, right? So you can see kind of here in the middle. I know that this is what shows when I fold this type of slip cover up. So I'm not wasting the time, my time in painting the whole thing when I know that this is all that shows. I always love it when my old scruffy brushes do this, like they split open, which is not necessarily a great thing for a brush, but look at the cool mark that I get with this old scruffy brush that it looks like a little horseshoe. But if I wanted a mark making tool that made that mark, it would be hard. Well, I don't know how you would find that, but an old brush, you have to take care of your brushes like Anne takes care of her brushes to have one that splits up like that. Because I do want some dots too. I don't want it to all be that shape. This one looks like spiders. So I have to go over it again because I don't want it to look like spiders. I want it to look like little scattered dots. That's my favorite tissue that we carry in our San Jose shop is this scattered dots. Polka dots on a white background always makes me happy, as do white polka dots on a black background. I think I like that because they're so neutral. You can add any color over top. Okay, so this is probably going to bleed over into the motif for my hitchhiker journal. But thank you for indulging me in, I needed to get this done today. I wanted to get this done today. It's kind of been on my mind to do today. And so I love that I can just make this the time that I do it. How's that? Okay, I also know that I should have spaced this down a little bit farther. So, oh, boo-hoo, I had to do more black marks on white. I will say I'm going to want to scan or photocopy this. Well, maybe not. I'm not going to take the time to do it, but, and if you want to scan or photocopy this, if you're working along with me to make a cover for a little journal that size, then scan it before you fold it up totally, because then I could print this hand painted black and white mark background. I could print it out on whatever I wanted. Speaking of which, I've been loving printing out on tissue. So imagine this hand painted black and white polka dotty and stripy watercolor background printed on your own tissue that you could collage over other things. So I'm always looking at the backgrounds that I'm making and thinking, do I want to use this again? Is this something that I might want to print out on paper and use as a base layer for something? Do I do that every time? No, but it kind of is something to think about. And sometimes I'm just so in the moment that I don't think to stop and do that, to scan it or print it or copy it or anything. So I'm going to get this dry. And then I will go lay it on the scanner because now that we talked about it, I hope that I would do that. I've been using my scanner and printer an awful lot lately. It's feeling more and more like a vital part of my toolkit, if you will, because I mention it so often to my students. They don't have to cost a fortune, and you don't necessarily need specifically the one you want to use it. It just has something that you can scan so that you can copy things that you make that you really love and make them digital so that you can actually print them out. And so then your scanner should also print things. Let me go scan and print a copy of them. Okay, so here's my original. I did scan it. I did photocopy it, and I do love it. And I'm glad I did that because look how cute this is as collage paper. It's adorable. I would totally buy that. If there was a collage paper packet and that was featured in it, I would totally get that, right? It's adorable. And I can print that out and I can collage it on whatever I want. And that's my own handmade, and that's my own handmade stripes. And I can print this on tissue and put adhesive on the back side of it and make tape. Okay, now I'm giving away all my secrets. But those are the types of things that I do in my membership. So if you like that kind of stuff, then EcoTake by, yes, I have one of those too. The EcoTake printer by Epson, the ink bottles are so handy and last for a long time. And I print color pages daily. That's awesome. Okay, so here is the way this is going to go. It's going to go like this. Just in my first oopsie. Okay, let me do this without trying to talk my way through it, and then I can fix my oops because hey, I scanned it, so even if I did it on the wrong side, I can do it on the side. And or I can collage. Okay, what am I trying to do here? What I want to do is have this be 1/3. So I'm going to do it and then I'll explain what it is that I'm doing. That's that. I just realized that the paper that I'm using is not the size that I'm used to using or the proportion that I'm used to using when I do this slip cover. So I'm going to fix that. And usually when I make these books and then I make the slip cover from the same, oh, it's Casey from South Dakota. Okay. Yes. Casey Walker with her EcoTank printer. And Jana has the EcoTank printer as well. Okay, so the reason that I got all flummoxed was because the paper that I make the slip covers for these books from is usually 3 times the height of the book. And yeah, anyway, that's usually the height. So I'm going to fix this paper so that it is the same height This is not a tutorial. Everything is going to be all a little bit wonky anyway. I am just going to tear the edge of this paper off. If you've made these slip covers for folded books like this, you can perhaps see where I'm going with this. But what we want is to have these little flaps. We have these little flaps that hold the inside, the signatures, if you will, the book block. We have these little flaps that hold the book into place. And then it looks a little something like this. Where it slips in, and I might have made it too short. Oh, of course. Fiddlesticks. It's okay. It's just paint and paper. I can fix it. It's just paint and paper, and you won't even really know. I would have made this 3.5 times the height, maybe not just exactly 3 times the height. I'll do it for a real tutorial, not just to wing it and try and have you follow along with what I'm doing, because I don't even know what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So that's why it's good for me to get this all out before I go on camera. But thanks for your indulgence. Didn't really have a choice, didn't even ask you. And it's adorable. And I'm glad that I did it, even though it felt a little chaotic for a sketch there. You do have to zhuzh this, you have to kind of pinch the edges. I love that I did get it right? The polka dots stripes on the spine and the polka dots on the fronts. The thing that I could do differently is my proportions were slightly off. So when I do this as a for real lesson in the Watch.Learn.Play membership, I'll perfect all the measurements and I'll give you actual numbers, even though I don't like to make something tracking the numbers as I do it. I can't go back and retro fit this. I think that I would have had these be a little bit wider as well. So I'm going to fold that. It may not look fantastic, having this extra little crease in it, but the size will be right. And it'll fit better around this chonky book. So I am just maneuvering another little crease. This makes you perfectionists out there, myself included sometimes, because I do have perfectionist tendencies, that this is like probably the real bookbinders, and I'm using that in like air quotes. Could be cringy here, but this is how we figure out the measurements. First, not only. That's what it means. First, not only. Okay. And let's make sure that the book is going in the right direction. So this is up. I like these little corner slots to be the bottom. So then this will tuck into this little corner and it locks this book block into place. And fiddle with it and get it to tuck into that little corner. So the whole book block is held in, locked into And it is better if this is a little bit longer. Had I not cut that off or torn that off so much, it would have been the right size, but, and it's okay. And I did widen that up a little bit. Maybe I widened it up a little too much. So maybe I'd split the difference. This is where I think my impulsivity is a superpower, because I don't get stalled out in doing it perfectly the first time. I don't worry about having to have it all figured out before I get in there and just like slap some paint on some paper. And I knew how to do this, generally speaking. I forgot the proportions. Actually, I've never done it with this size of a book. So I know how to do it with like square books, ones that are a different proportion. So this is what the little jacket looks like. I love that because you can still open this up flat. It's not fixed in here. It just kind of slides in the slip cover, but it looks really sweet and finished from the outside. So the reason I would not glue this into place in the slip cover is that when you're trying to lay it open flat, like this book does so nicely, it just sort of lifts out of that slip cover and just floats around in there, right? So this is a nice way to make one of these little handmade meander books that you've chunked together. This is 4 of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, chunked together. So you've got a nice thick mixed media book. And if you're curious how to make this, join the Watch, Learn, Play membership, and you will see this is the content that I've put in pretty much for the month of November. I've been putting these lessons in, pre-recorded lessons, 8 parts to making this book. But they're little 20-minute lessons, so you don't have to watch all 8 at once. You can watch one and pick up some mixed media techniques for some backgrounds and play around with it and take your time. Or you could watch all of them. You could power watch, or what do we call it? Binge watching. You could binge watch it. It's so cool. Love the pages in the book, and the cover is so great. Thank you, Denise. That paper. You guys have been talking. Okay, let's see. Favorite paper. What's my favorite paper? The paper gets jammed. Switch to different paper. Okay, so you guys are talking about paper. Color copies. Hammer Mill premium color copy paper. Nice. Okay, and Lori, you had no idea where that was going, but it is cool, right? It's a fun little flip cover. And the whole idea is that I didn't give you any measurements of paper measurements, because it's proportionate to you use the same paper for the slip cover as you use to make the book itself, and so it should work out. If I could remember the exact proportions, that would be very helpful. And it still worked out perfect. All right. Okay, so now let's change gears. I want to do my hitchhiker journal for the week. I'm going to go grab mine from last week. Okay, well, let's just bring the whole suite of journals over here, because it's the perfect time to talk about how I'm going to finish the year doing what I absolutely adore doing, which is living in this suite of journals. The hitchhiker journal is what I'm here this evening to make. I make this weekly, and my hitchhiker journal is simply a piece of paper. I use 11 by 14 mixed media paper, like so. And it folds up into this ephemeral mini journal, just a one-page pamphlet that I can put a numbered list of things to do. This week was a bit of chaos. I will just say, you can do it by the month. Oh, it's $37 a month. Lucy, that was the question. How much per month? It's $37 a month. So many weeks, these are all filled out, and the inside pages have lots of drawings and doodles and other notes and lists. This week, I tried, y'all. I tried. I did a lot of things outside of my journals, as many of us did this week, but I'm really pleased that I made this, and I made time to do this last Friday, and I'm making time to do this one for this next week. I can go back retroactively and write down the things that I did in here, because it really is, it really is. So Denise said that she did something with a hitchhiker, that she made a case. I'm working on that right now, Denise. That's so funny that you say that, because I'm working on that right now for a lesson for this next week, coming up with some canvas and some paper and tissue and more fabric that is going to be like a remnant scrap thing. But yes, Denise, absolutely fantastic idea. I love that synchronicity. And we've both been making a little holder for these guys. So the Hitchhiker Journal is the one page that I use every week that has a page a day, essentially, for my top 6. This is not like a productivity sort of thing for me. It's just I make a list to make sure that I know, that my brain knows like all it needs to do, nothing more. I don't need to do more than this. And when I get these things done, I can actually be done, or I can keep working, or I can keep playing. But this is just a great way for me to keep track personally of what needs to be done on what day. And then the paper, after the day is passed and I've used it for what I needed it to be used for, I can actually take this paper and cut it apart and use it in art. I often don't do that. I keep these and they collect, and it's just kind of another documentation of my weeks as they go by. This is my daily creative practice journal. No coincidence that this fits with this. It's the same size. It's intentional. It's designed that way. So this can tuck into any one of these weeks. Each page spread here is a week. And so these, I can't quite tuck in here because it's not quite wide enough, but you could make a pocket inside of here. It would make this monthly journal very chunky if I tried to incorporate each one of these one per spread, but you know, occasionally I might do that. So this I work on weekly. Each week I do a spread. This was this week's Under the Influence. We are still working with the medium of paper as our main focal medium for our art journaling. And this week I wanted to see what watercolor did on lots of different textured background papers. And so these are the 2 spreads that I led based on some previous Under the Influence sessions that we have covered. So this is art journaling, mixed media art journaling done weekly. And then usually I just use my everything journal as a blotter, as a place to drop what's going on in my head so that I can get into the process of making the art that I want to make, or sometimes I make the art that I want to make as a way to process things in my head at the same time. So this everything journal captures everything from brain dumps to pictures that I've taken. It has a place for me, like I make a calendar in here. Here we are. Thanksgiving, here we are right here. I don't even have it actually right here. And I don't have this written in here, but normally I would have 6 p.m. live YouTube, right? So this is a place where I can make sure that I have all of my appointments and everything. So what I'm here to do today is to make this week's hitchhiker journal. So let me get to that. Now that I've stalled, done other things, and talked about the whole suite of journals in the daily creative practice, I also wanted to talk about, as I'm painting some more black and white, or maybe more like gray and white things in the background here. I want to talk about the final 23. So for the last however many years since I recognized that this Black Friday thing just really sets me, I don't know, like I have just kind of an interesting response for a shopkeeper to Black Friday. I don't like it. And just because it sounds very noisy and I don't like contributing to the noise. So my response to that has been for the last as many years as I can remember, is to do something that brings me joy or do something that feels like it's more giving back and showing gratitude and thanks for the support that I've gotten from the customers. Rather than asking you to buy more things, I want to give you something. That's my way to look at it anyway. And sometimes that's, not necessarily an easy thing to do. So I always try to do things that have a component that can be a very inexpensive purchase, if you will. But you can also watch along for free in certain ways. Or anyway, this year I'm doing the final 23 in conjunction with the daily creative course, which I'm offering live on Zoom, but it's also going to be recorded. So if you can't show up live, you can still sign up and watch the recording after it's been recorded. But I am doing that. The course starts December 1st. So does the final 23, by the way. And in the final 23 challenge, not challenge, it's not a challenge. It's just my own personal project for the way that I like to end the year, doing things that bring me joy. And painting brings me joy, making mixed media backgrounds brings me joy. So it's going to be a lot of that. For the first 12 days of December, so December 1 through 12, I'm going to be making backgrounds for my 2024 calendar. I've already got the size determined. I'm going to be working on these 4 by 11 strips of paper, again, cut out of my 11 by 14 paper. I can make 3 of these out of each sheet. So that means I take 4 sheets of this to make an entire year's worth of calendar. So I'm going to be using my mixed media prompts, like I showed the little book with mixed media prompts. I'm going to be making backgrounds like this for each month of the year, leaving myself some space to do a calendar over top of this beautiful layered mixed media background. And that is what the beginning of the final 23 is going to include, is that 23-minute video a day. So make the January background. It'll take 23 minutes. Make the February background. It'll take 23 minutes. So anyway, 12 days of that to make one background for each of the 12 months. And then magically, we're left with 11 more days to make 23. So those final 11 days of the 23 days that I'm doing this, that starts December 1st. So December 1 to 23, we're doing this. I'm doing this. You can watch along. It's all going to be pre-recorded. There's no live component to this at all. You're not going to have to show up live and participate. You could just watch and do whenever you'd like. My members, my Watch.Learn.Play members will get access to this, obviously, in the membership. They will have access to all the lessons. But if you sign up for the daily creative, that is the make 3 journals in 3 hours. If you sign up for that, you will have instant access to this final 23 additional mixed media work. So it would be a great way to make journals. If you've never done a handmade journal, if you're watching this from absolutely not knowing anything about Watch, Learn, Play or the mixed media membership or anything, if you're just now finding this challenge, this class, I should say, that I'm doing, this course, it's called The Daily Creative. And in this course, you can make the 3 different structures or containers that I live in. And by live in, I simply mean, like I was showing just a little bit ago, I will do art journaling on these pages. I will keep track of my to-do or to-do list, things that I need to keep track of for business or life or whatever's going on. That's what I'm doing here, is making the background for my weekly lists. And then I also have a big planner that sort of sits underneath and catches all the drips of paint. So the course that you would want to sign up to do this is called The Daily Creative. And as I was mentioning, the Daily Creative, a bonus for signing up for the Daily Creative here in December is that you will also have access to the long form version of how I'm going to make my calendars to go on each of the months, and how I'm going to use that artwork and sort of leverage it using my printer, my scanner, reusing the backgrounds in many different ways. Like I just showed you that one little peek of scanning and printing this. So now I have collage paper, but I'll also do that on tissue or other surfaces. So we'll see what else comes of that. But if you sign up for the Daily Creative, you can find that at Watch.Learn.Play.com. Watch.Learn.Play.com. Just finishing up this background, big black polka dots that are outlined. I like the way this looks. It's very organic and handmade. And the variation in the black I find that very appealing. So I'm going to get this dry. And then, of course, I want to scan it before I fold it up into the booklet, the hitchhiker journal that's going to be. So we want to get it dry first. Sometimes I'll even leave like the last little bit on, like not dry, because you can blot and you get some other highlights and variation. Again, we love the differences. Always looking to See how I can bump that up. I'm going to go ahead and take this over and scan it. If you don't have a scanner, here's what I would do. I would take my phone and I would hold it in such a way that there's not a shadow cast if I can. Here's a trick for not casting a shadow is come way far away. I can't do that because the camera is here in the way, but come way far away and then zoom in. And when you zoom in, you're focused in on the background, but you don't capture the shadow. So it's just a nice way to, so I got the picture of the background. So I can print that out. I can crop that image that I took with my phone. I didn't have to have a scanner to do that. But see how it's straight down, it's flat. Hopefully it doesn't flare like in or out. It does, it flares a little bit. But I can crop that and I can square that up. Anyway, that's how to do it without a scanner. It's just take a good top down, no shadow cast, as flat as you can get it, picture with your phone, and then you can take this digital picture and manipulate it a little bit. That's what I would normally do. But I find that I don't have to do that every time. And don't slow yourself down if you don't have equipment. Don't not do the work because you can't scan it. Do the backgrounds. Just think maybe someday you want to try to scan. Maybe someday you want to try to photocopy it. For today, just took a picture with my phone. I'm gonna like a really simple background. This black and white polka dot feels very like a soothing way to finish November up. We're having the discussion of trees, Christmas trees. We have family here still from Thanksgiving. Does anybody have a favorite variety of tree? The noble fir, Douglas. Do you have an opinion? Because if you do, I mean, please let me know. I am so curious. Some people have very strong opinions over their tree. You have a strong opinion over your tree? I'm sure some of you do. Please tell me what's the best Christmas tree around. Okay, so I got my scissors and I'm cutting right here on the fold. So all of my color, again, if you have not done this before, I folded the paper in half and then in half lengthwise, we call this hot dog fold, long and skinny. And then in lengthwise as well, I do it into quarters. So this is an accordion fold. And then at this center fold area, right here from the crease in the middle, I'm just going to snip through this first section, just this first segment. Everything's going to need to go back the other way though. So I want all of the color from the pages to be trapped on the inside of these folds. It was easier for me to cut from the back side to see that crease without having to look through, to be able to see, to cut it on this side. I'm now more interested in what you guys are saying about the trees. Okay, Fraser firs. Yes. I used to have silver tinsel, but it passed. Oh, silver tinsel tree. That's fun. Baby pink. recycle an artificial tree. That's fun, Lucy. I love the smell of Christmas. And so that is my conflict with, I would love to have a really good looking artificial tree because then you just wouldn't have to worry about buying a tree year after year. And I also have conflicting feelings about like, or I don't know, it's just funny feelings about trees. Anyway, no, nothing against trees. We're gonna go get one tomorrow. You cut it, you pick it, cut it, place, perhaps. I am gluing one edge to the other. This is what I like to do each week to make sure that at least one side of this is completely square. The edges line up. It's sort of like an anchor point. And it's usually the piece that I use for the cover. So this one's going to say November, whatever, 26, 26, 29, 30, 26 to 30. Yes, Lucy, essential oil does the job. I have fantastic fir and cedar, and I can make a concoction that smells just like a fresh cut tree, and it's actually delightful any time of year. I love that smell. Okay, so at the top of this, supplement with real garlands too. Yes, I have a real garland this year that I got from Costco. I'm cutting the top of this, by the way. Cedar is not as, or at least this garland is not as pungent to smell. Like I'm not noticing a big smell. So, of course, I have my favorite, candle that smells good, but essential oils are my preferred way to add extra holiday smell. Okay, so now I am using again my bone burnishing tool. I use this to make my creases nice and crisp. And now I have a black and white, which is exactly what I wanted. Hitchhiker journal for the week. It's important that I stencil or make note of the week that it is. So this is November 26th through 30, I think. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and then 1 and 2. So through 2. November 26th through December 2. Is that right? What's Saturday? Saturday's 1. Friday's 1, Saturday's 2. So December 2. I'm doing that from memory. So I'm hoping, because I'm a little bit brain dead by the end of this week. If I did not have things on these pages, I am probably needing to get some pen to paper time, which equates to more stable time. I'm going to find my stencil for November on the numbers. Oh, you know what? It's on the cart that I'm standing at. That's how smart I am. I actually have it right here on the cart. Super fancy. And I have put the stencils that I use the most right here at the front. Oh, there we go. What color are we feeling for November 26th? I am feeling some aquamarine shopping. Okay. I was playing with these at Thanksgiving. I made a craft table. I made a craft table and it was the best choice ever. We had an amazing Thanksgiving with fun family friends over. family that are friends. And I brought these down to the craft table for all the adult kids to play with. We didn't have any kids. I think the youngest is maybe a sophomore in high school. Everybody else is much older than that. And we're all still kids at heart. So we all sat around and did crafts on the table. I put paper that they could draw on directly. And then I also brought some watercolor paper down. And they just had so much fun. And I had so much fun with them being there having fun. All right, November 26th. But this is one of the things that I brought were these sticks. I think I originally got these sticks because Robin Marie said that she liked them, or I saw them on her supply list or something. So of course I had to try them. These are the ones that I bought for my shop that I don't carry anymore, but I could never really make them in regular rotation with my practice because look, I don't know why it does that, but it rolls off, it rubs off, sometimes kind of funky and unexpectedly. So not necessarily a supply that I'm going to carry anymore, but you know, I've got them, so might as well use them. Anyway, that's my take on them. So November and then December. But we had so much fun just messing around with colors and markers and crayons. Oh my, it was so much fun. I brought out the watercolor pencils and some water brushes. And I had the crayons from Croatia that I got in our travels a couple years ago. Just got a big smudge behind there. I'm okay with that. December 2. Not that much of a perfectionist. Not today, at least. Okay, November 26th to December 2. So might as well put the numbers on the days. And I'm going with this blue, but I'm thinking I might want to switch the color. Some hot pink. 6. Is that Sunday? Yes, 26th is Sunday. Can't believe. Well, I can actually. I know time goes by really quickly. It's 26, 27. Eight. $29. 30. This is the day that I'll fly back to San Jose. If you're in the Bay Area, I may see you. And then 1. This is the day. I'm going to switch color because it's December, so we'll do a different color. This December 1 is the day that we start the final 23, which is what I've been talking about. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Final 23 is going to start with making a hitchhiker journal and a signature for an everything journal and a monthly daily creative practice journal. Just one. We're not making massive quantities of anything. I'm going to do 2 on here as well. I'm not making massive quantities of anything, but in 3 hours on the 1st, you can make 1 of each of those. So you can play with the book structure, the journal structure, and see if you might like it as well as we do. It's what a lot of the stuff that I do in Watch, Learn, Play. I work in these journals. So December 2, I'm in San Jose and I am live from 3 to 6 p.m. in the studio. That's 176 Grace Street in San Jose, California. You can sign up at Watch.Learn.Play.com. No dots in between, so it's just Watch, Learn. I'm used to writing it that way. Play.com. There we go. All run together. Watch.Learn.Play.com. You can sign up for the daily creative. And start on the 2nd. I'm doing it in person. On the 1st, I'm doing it on Zoom. Again, 3 to 6 p.m. That's next Friday, right? And no, wait a second. Yes, that's next Friday. 3 to 6 p.m. on Zoom. My Watch, Learn, Play members, you guys get in free, but you do need to sign up so you get the Zoom link. So if you haven't signed up yet, make sure you go back and look at last week's email, the one that has the link embedded in it, so you get it for free as part of your membership. Oops. Okay, do not use this stuff. This is why I don't like it. Ew, that's irritating. Sticky. Don't close. Don't close. All right. Okay, we learn from our mistakes. There we go. Icky sticky. 26, 27, 28, and 29. I'll just have to redo when everything is dry. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm tired. I have guests. It's 7:05. I'm going to go. I tucked a lot of information in this call and on this live. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully, if you still have family around you, spend some time cherishing them and having lots of laughs and making wonderful memories. Thank you guys so much. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that we have this time together, and we will see you all soon. Bye.